Okay, so have you ever felt like there are these forces, like pulling the strings, like you're like, we're all kind of puppets.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's exactly what we're looking at today.
Oh, cool.
We're doing a deep dive on this fictional podcast. It's called The Technocrat,
Okay.
but it's gonna feel a little too real, a little too close to home.
Oh, interesting.
So, so like just think, how much power do these tech moguls like really have?
Right.
That's what this episode is exploring.
Yeah, the Technocrat it's really fascinating how it takes like our real world anxieties
Hmm.
about figures like think Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, those kinds of guys.
Right, right.
And it like amplifies them, It
Yeah.
creates this world that feels like, oh, it's fantastical, but then at the same time,
Yeah.
it's like uncomfortably familiar.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the main villain, the puppet master, if you will,
Hmm.
is Victor Kessler.
Okay.
And this guy, he makes those real life tech giants look like small potatoes.
Oh.
He's got so he's got electrocore, they control energy.
Yeah.
He's got Voltura motors, they dominate transportation.
Mm.
And then there's this company called Neurasync. And that's where it gets really creepy because they're like messing with mind-altering tech.
It's like Black Mirror stuff.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But all that's just a stepping stone
Oh, wow.
to his real goal.
What's that?
He wants total control,
Control over what?
global communication
Yeah.
through his fancy satellite network, Etherlink.
So, like, he wants to control all information.
Oh yeah. Imagine like one person just filtering
Oh,
everything.
that's scary.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And in the last episode, we were introduced to our protagonist, Gabriel Mansa. He's a whistleblower, and he exposed Kessler's plan.
Okay.
But the thing is, Kessler, he's got his fingers in so many pies, right?
Yeah.
He's practically untouchable.
Oh, so how do you stop someone like that?
Well, I mean, that's the big question. And especially because politicians, they're in his pocket,
Right.
especially President Ronald Slate.
Oh, wow.
And so this latest episode, it's called The Power Behind the Throne. It just digs into how deep that manipulation goes.
Yeah, these kinds of things are always so unsettling. When
Yeah.
you see how these seemingly like legal actions can actually be used for really shady purposes.
Oh yeah, like the $1 million donation, right?
Right.
So Maya Henderson, she's like Mance's partner in all this.
Okay.
She uncovers that Kessler's companies, they poured $1 million into a PAC that's supporting President Slate's reelection.
Okay, so that's legal though, right? Like campaign financing, that kind of thing.
Yeah, on the surface, totally legal.
But there's got to be more to it.
Oh yeah, because for someone like Kessler, $1 million, that's chump change.
Exactly.
So it's not about supporting the candidate, it's about buying influence.
Right, right. To get those regulations out of the way.
Oh yeah, so that his companies can just boom.
Yeah, it's like an investment
Totally.
with a big return.
This isn't just some like fictional plot point.
Right.
Like this makes you think about campaign finance in the real world,
Absolutely, yeah.
How much influence does $1 million buy? Like how transparent are these dealings really?
Yeah, that's a question we should all be asking.
Right.
'Cause if the people with the most money can just dictate policy, who's really being represented?
Exactly. It's scary stuff. And then hold on, because it gets worse. So Mansa, he's like a digital detective.
Oh.
He discovers that Kessler's been putting his allies in key government agencies.
Oh, no.
Like the ones that oversee, communications, energy, technology, all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's playing like a real life game of Risk or something
Oh, wow.
with the whole world as the board.
Yeah, that's textbook regulatory capture.
How? Totally.
You got individuals who are directly tied to Kessler, and now they're heading the agencies that are meant to regulate him.
It's tragic.
It's such a blatant conflict of interest.
Right. And the episode lays it all out, You've got government subsidies specifically for Kessler's companies. Legislation conveniently aligns with his agenda.
It's like a real life monopoly.
Oh yeah, it is. Only instead of Boardwalk and Park Place,
Right.
He's got energy, he's got information.
And it makes you wonder, like, how much of this is happening in the real world that we don't even know about.
That's the scary part.
Right.
Like how much do we really know about these corporate interests?
And how are they shaping the policies that are, impacting us every single day?
Mm.
This whole thing, this episode just highlights how we need to be more informed
Absolutely.
and critical Question everything.
Yeah.
You know, be critical of the information we're consuming.
And who's benefiting?
Exactly.
Who's benefit? So President Slate, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's campaigning on progress, innovation.
Right.
He genuinely believes he's leading the charge, you know?
Yeah.
But the episode reveals this like really sad truth. He's basically parroting all of Kessler's talking points.
Oh.
He's pushing this agenda that doesn't help the people.
It's like good intentions just getting twisted, you know, and rhetoric disguised to serve someone else's agenda.
Yeah. There's this line in the episode, it's like, chilling. Slate parroted Kessler's talking points, and it goes on, about the dangers of overregulation.
Wow.
It just makes you think, like, how do we tell the difference between, like, genuine political discourse
Right.
and carefully crafted narratives that are just designed to help someone's interests?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
We live in a world that's just overflowing with information.
Yeah.
And being able to, you know, look at that critically, identify the biases,
Right.
figure out what's fact, what's fiction. Like, that's never been more important.
So Mansa and Maya, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know they can't fight Kessler head on, right?
Yeah.
So they get creative.
What do they do?
They start using disinformation tactics.
Oh, wow.
They like leak info to trusted sources, try to build up this network of whistleblowers.
So they're fighting fire with fire.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's super dangerous.
Yeah. Is that even ethical?
Well, that's the question, right?
You know, it's a dilemma a lot of activists face.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, how far are you willing to go to expose the truth?
And then what are the consequences of that?
You know, what's the cost of that?
And the stakes get even higher when Mansa does this crazy daring hack
Into what?
into Echo,
Yeah.
Kessler's social media platform.
Oh, wow.
He gets proof, like undeniable proof, of Kessler's manipulation.
And of this plan to take over all communication.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like a total David and Goliath situation.
Totally.
Only this time, the battle's happening online.
Yeah.
But Mansa, he's so courageous, so smart. He's willing to risk everything to get that truth out there.
So what happens next? Does Kessler find out?
Well, yeah. He senses the threat, right? And he unleashes this counter-propaganda campaign through Echo.
Oh, no.
He paints Mansa and Maya as these rogue agents trying to, like, destabilize the government.
Classic smear campaign.
Oh, totally. Just discredit, distract, and silence. That's the playbook.
It's kind of terrifying, you know, that even with all the information we have access to, controlling the narrative is still such a powerful weapon.
It is. And the episode ends on a cliffhanger. So we don't know, will they succeed? Will Kessler, get total control?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Right. But it makes you think, like, what would you do if you found, like, a similar web of power and manipulation in your world?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what's really striking about this episode? It's how they take this idea of, like, the tech genius, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they totally flip it.
Oh, yeah.
Like Kessler, he's not some, evil villain twirling his mustache,
Right.
delighting in chaos.
Yeah.
He actually thinks he's like saving the world.
Yeah, he's the good guy.
Yeah.
In his mind.
Which is almost more disturbing.
Oh, it's way more disturbing.
It's that whole, like,
Yeah.
the ends justify the means.
Totally. He's convinced that his vision of the future with his tech and his control, that's the only way forward.
It's the only path to progress.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because this episode, it's not just about taking down a bad guy.
Right.
It's making us ask, like, what is progress?
Yeah, who gets to decide?
Exactly. Like, who defines that? Who benefits?
And what are we giving up for?
What's the cost?
What's the cost? Yeah, it's like he's building this utopia, but it's built on, like, manipulation and control.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, just trust me. Okay, I know what's best.
Yeah, like, I got this.
Yeah. And people they're buying it.
Especially Slate.
Oh, Slate's totally drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And that brings us to, I think, another, like, really important point.
What's that?
The power of a good story.
Ooh, yeah.
Kessler, he's a master storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
He's created this narrative about progress, societal advancement,
Yeah.
and he's convinced everyone, including himself,
Mhm.
that that it's for the greater good.
It's scary how powerful a good story can be.
Oh, totally. Especially when it's, it's promising you a better future.
Yeah, like who doesn't want a better future?
Right. And it makes you wonder, how often are we being manipulated by stories
In the real world?
in real life and we don't even know it?
All the time. I mean, think about the messages we get every day.
Yeah.
Buy this, you need this, you got to have this.
Be more, be better, you know.
Yeah. Keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah. And all of that, it's shaping what we want, what we think we need.
And it benefits the people who are, telling those stories.
This episode, it's like a wake-up call.
It is.
Be more aware, be more critical
Yeah.
of all these messages that we're bombarded with every day.
Yeah, and ask yourself, like, who benefits from this story?
Yeah.
And whose voices are not being heard?
Oh, that's such a good point. So, okay, let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about Mansa and Maya and how they're fighting back.
How are they fighting back?
Because remember, they're fighting fire with fire.
Yeah.
They're using disinformation, manipulation, all that stuff.
To expose Kessler's manipulation.
Yeah. It's super risky.
I mean, ethically,
Oh, yeah.
practically.
No, totally.
It really brings up that question, like,
Right.
is it ever okay to compromise your values?
To get to the greater good.
To do the right thing.
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer.
Not at all. It's something that real activists grapple with all the time.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, you've got Mansa and Maya.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to expose this guy who's, really hurting people.
Right.
But they're using his tactics.
His own playbook, it's such a gray area.
And that's what I love about the Technocrat.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you easy answers.
Yep.
It makes you wrestle with these tough questions.
Think about the nuances, the
Yeah.
consequences.
Yeah.
It's not black and white. It's all gray.
Shades of gray.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so real.
Yeah. Like we face these ethical dilemmas all the time.
All the time.
In our own lives.
Big and small.
Big and small, yeah. This episode is just reminding us there's rarely a simple right or wrong
It's about making the best decision you can
with the information you have.
with what you got.
Yeah. And knowing that everything you do, it has consequences.
Yeah.
And being okay with that.
Taking responsibility.
And sometimes those decisions, they take real courage.
That's a sacrifice.
Like Mansa's hack into Echo.
Right.
He knew it was risky, but he was willing to risk it all to get the truth out there.
It's powerful, to see someone stand up like that, even when it seems like there's no chance.
It shows you that individuals can make a difference.
Even against, massive systems,
Yeah.
institutions.
And in the Technocrat, Mansa's weapon, it's his digital skills. He's a hacker.
Yeah.
And he's using that to fight this system that's totally rigged against him.
It's like a reflection of how power is changing,
Yeah.
in the digital age.
Information is power.
It is.
Yeah.
Whoever controls the information.
They control everything.
Yeah. But this episode also shows us
What?
that information can be a tool to fight back.
Oh, yeah.
Right. It's about disrupting the story that's already being told.
Yeah.
Exposing the truth.
Empowering people to take action.
Exactly. And that's really at the heart of the Technocrat.
What if?
It wants us to be more critical, more informed, more active.
Yeah. Like engaged citizens.
In a world where information can be used against us or for us.
So as we head into the last part of this deep dive, I want you to think about this.
Okay.
What tools do you have
Yeah.
to make a difference in your world?
What can you do?
Mm-hmm.
This episode, it really kind of flips the script, on the whole hero's journey thing.
How so?
Well, usually you've got the good guys fighting for truth and justice
Yeah.
against a clearly evil force.
Yeah.
But in the Technocrat, it's all blurry.
Oh, totally. I mean, Mansa and Maya, they're doing some shady stuff. And even Kessler, the supposed villain, he thinks he's saving the world.
Exactly. It's like the creators are saying, hey, listen, the world's not black and white.
Right.
There's a lot of gray.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And even good intentions, they can backfire.
Totally. There could be unintended consequences.
Big time. And it's such a powerful message, especially these days when everything feels so divided.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to fall into that us versus them mentality.
Yeah.
But this episode, it pushes us to look beyond that.
To see the nuance.
Yeah. To recognize that these issues are complex.
Mm-hmm.
And that, even people we disagree with, They might have valid points.
Yeah. And that we need to be willing to, like, have those hard conversations.
Exactly, to actually listen to each other.
Yeah.
To find some common ground.
Because it's so easy to just write people off, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's way easier to just say, oh, they're evil or, they're stupid.
Yeah, I'm right, you're wrong.
Exactly. But that just leads to more division.
More anger. The Technocrat, it forces us to confront that, to realize that even in a fictional world, there's not always a clear-cut hero or villain.
It's real life, and that's what makes it so gripping.
It is. So the episode, it ends on a cliffhanger.
Right. What's going to happen?
Will Mansa and Maya's, like, plan work? Will they take Kessler down?
Or is he, like, too powerful?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
But it makes you think about something else, too.
What's that?
What are we willing to risk
Ooh.
for what we believe in?
Because Maya and Mansa, they're putting everything on the line.
Their reputations, their freedom.
Maybe even their lives.
To do what they think is right. It makes you think about, real whistleblowers.
Activists.
Yeah.
The sacrifices they make.
It's a lot to think about, but it's also inspiring.
Oh, totally. It shows that people are out there fighting.
Yeah, challenging the system.
Even when it seems impossible.
For a better world. And that brings us to, I think, like the big takeaway from the Technocrat.
What's that?
It's not just a story. It's a reflection of the world we live in, the power dynamics, the struggles we face, trying to make sense of all this information. Yeah. And the choices we have to make about how we're going to deal with all of it.
Exactly. It's a call to action, to be more informed, more critical, more courageous.
To stand up for what's right. And to remember, we all have a role to play.
No matter how small. Because even small actions can make a difference.
So to our listener, I want to ask you this. What stuck with you from this deep dive? What are you going to take away from this? Are you going to be more careful about the information you consume? More willing to, speak out against injustice? More active in shaping the world you want to live in?
These are the questions we should all be asking ourselves.
Yeah.
Because the fight for the future, it's happening now.
Yeah.
And we can choose to sit back and watch, or we can get involved.
The power is in our hands. And if the Technocrat has shown us anything, it's that the fight is worth it. So go out there, challenge the status quo, demand better, and never be afraid to use your voice. The future depends on it.